My insulin hasn't been normal in a long time. And one of the things about insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia is that the doctors told me that it makes it close to impossible to lose weight. And that was actually true. For 2 years, I went to the gym hardcore, did exercise. I did a diet that worked for me in the past, and I didn't lose a single pound. I was steadily and slowly going up, right? Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is CGR here, recording a new video. This one's gonna be about meditation. We're gonna go deep into meditation, what it is, how it works, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and, don't know if you guys can hear that bird that's behind me, but the bird is gonna be part of the meditation video as well, if so. But yeah, so in this video, I'm gonna talk about the benefits that meditation has done for me. So I started meditating in about 2021, I wanna say. It was shortly after COVID. And yeah, it's 2000, yeah, so I've been doing it for about 5 years now. For the first 2 or 3 years, there were not any noticeable differences in my health or in the way I was being. At least I wasn't able to see it. But by the 4th year, the 5th year, it started really working to the point where it was doing what you might call miraculous things. So, for example, one of the things I want to talk about, and I printed out the paper here, I want to go ahead and talk my insulin levels, right? So I'm going to show it to the screen, but I'm going to put the screenshot of the actual medical record that my wife pulled up for me because I don't know how to access my medical records. And yes, I am a grown adult and I still don't know how to do that. But anyway, so yeah, my normal insulin range is between 2.60 to 24.90 IU/mLs. So they told me that when you get under 20, if I'm able to get under 20 U/ml, whatever that means, that would be like healthy, normal insulin range. So I was diagnosed clinically with insulin resistance, and what you'll see it up here on the screen. But January 13th, 2023, I had 32.2 IU/mLs. I'll just keep it to mLs, to U/mLs, and that was considered high. Then January 18th, from the 13th to the 18th, I tested again. No, January 18th, the following year, 2024, I had 28.7 U. So it looked like it was going down. That was great. And then on January 31st, it went to 37.7 U/mLs. So that was very high. Not quite sure what was causing that, but I can tell you that in the last 5-6 months, maybe 8 months as of now, I need to go back and confirm that eventually, but no more than a year, I started doing a lot of different things that I wanted to do to lose weight, right? So, and it could be that these things also helped to regulate, to lower or reduce, or rather eliminate my insulin resistance. And of those things, the things that I was doing first was always meditation. So I did 20 minutes to an hour of meditations daily, almost for like 4 years straight. Lately, I've been doing about 35 minutes, 36 minutes of meditation a day. Sometimes I miss it, but most of the times I don't because it just feels way too good to meditate. And since doing that, now I don't know what the chicken or the egg is. I don't know, would I have done this had I not been meditating and healing myself and feeling better about myself? Maybe, maybe not, probably not, because at one point I didn't even care about how fat I had gotten, because for me, it was just like, I told myself the lie that was convenient, that like, oh, it's good for me to be fat because this way, all those beautiful women that are out there and single and lonely won't be hitting on me. So I thought it was a great idea to be, bigger and all that stuff. But it just got to the point where, my kids are getting older. I want to play with them. I want to go to places with them, and just, it got to the point where at 344 pounds, and I'll go ahead and show the progression of my weight as well in this video. From 344 pounds down to today, I was 254.4. So just a quick side note, when I got to 260 pounds, I started fluctuating. It would go all the way up from 260 to like 265, 267, 268, and it would keep zigzagging until I finally got under 260. it's starting to do the same thing at 250 now. So like I got down to 250 and today I was 254.4. Yesterday I was 252 point something, and it's been zigzagging like that. And I did go to the gym today. I just came back from the gym actually, and yeah, so I decided I was taking some of the advice of some of the trainers that I talked to at the gym, and these guys, they say like that you can't keep on doing the same regimen or the same routine because your body gets used to it, and then when your body gets used to it, it's just going to get really efficient at doing the same regimen. So long story short, instead of doing, I did my leg weight training, which is normal, but then I decided to, instead of doing cardio, which I usually do on the elliptical machines, because I am still 250 something pounds. So it's like, I don't want to put too much pressure on my knees, but I started doing cardio in terms of boxing today. So I actually made a short video showing some of the boxing that I was doing. I was going a lot lighter in that session than I did once I turned the camera off and took off my headset and my glasses, because obviously I don't have any restrictions when I'm doing that. So you guys get to see about like 10-20% of my boxing prowess in that video when I go ahead and release that one. But yeah, you know, losing weight it became important for me when we started going to theme parks like Universal Studios, because it turns out that they build the roller coasters with Europeans in mind. And apparently Europeans are not as fat as we are in America. So go America, USA, USA. But anyway, yeah, so, you know, I wanted to lose weight because the big motivation, and this is so silly, and I want to share this with you guys because I want you to understand that what may be silly to anybody else's ears, I understand that this sounds like it's a dumb reason. Like, I could have said, oh, because my wife and my kids, I love them so much that I just want to live healthy for them and I want to be the best version of myself for them. That's true. That is true. That's never been a false reason for why I wanted to lose weight. But the actual motivation for me was, I want to fit in roller coasters. I wanted to ride the Velociraptor. I wanted to ride so many roller coasters that I was too big. The thing wouldn't close down on me. You know, my legs and thighs were much bigger than they are now. I haven't been to Universal Studios or any of the theme parks like SeaWorld or you know, Busch Gardens since I've lost all this weight. So this year we don't have any annual passes. Praying to God that, you know, I start doing better financially this year so that I can get annual passes for me and the wife and the kids. But yeah, this year we don't have it. So you know, trying to save some money and invest money like in things like this, like my CGR brand. And also with Mana Entertainment, I'm trying to save up some money so I can make Oria's Call a better version of the game, because we want as many people playing it, because it has a really good mission. You know, the game itself is designed so that when people play it, and whether they spend in-app purchases, buying actual money purchases, or whether they just watch ads, the money that's generated, 50% of it will go towards actual nonprofits that are out there really cleaning the ocean. So this is my little segue. I guess we could say that this video is sponsored by Mana Entertainment, just to give it good vibes and good energy of where the success we want it to be. But yeah, Oria's Call, Mana Entertainment. Guys, if you haven't checked it out, I recommend that you do. Right now, it's a very simplistic version of the game. It's not terrible. It's not the most fun either. It's very bare bones, but it was just the basic idea, and we just wanted to get the game out because I had struggled. This is a good segue. So meditation, you know, we're talking about a lot of the benefits, the health benefits of meditation, but there's also mental benefits of meditation. I started Mana Entertainment in 2015, and from 2015 all the way to like 2022 or 2023, we were not able to get a full game released in terms of like having a game that's actually out on Android and iOS. Part of the reason was because my programmer, Sean, he is more of a game designer than a hardcore programmer. So a lot of the back-end stuff, basically the translation of what I'm going to say is back-end stuff is a lot harder to program for, and you have to have a specialization for it. Like, it's not something that game programmers are pretty good at doing normally, unless they just have a pride and passion in just doing every aspect of programming. But the back-end stuff is basically how you get it on Android, which is Google Play, and how you get it on iOS, which is the Apple phones and tablets, right? So all of that stuff, just getting it on Android and getting it on iOS, that in itself is like a whole world of knowledge and skills and annoying processes that you have to go through to make sure that everything is up to date with both of those platforms so that your game can even exist on those platforms, right? Like, I used to think that mobile development was super cheap, and honestly, it's not the cheapest. It's actually cheaper to do something like a simplistic game on like a Steam, or like if you're able to swing the money for like a Nintendo Switch dev kit, or like a PlayStation or an Xbox dev kit. Like getting an indie game out is actually a bit cheaper than mobile games, because now we're realizing how much money it costs to keep the mobile game on the platform. A lot of the money that we spent was not just making it, we worked with an external team that got us to the finish line and got the game ready. But part of the money that we spent doing that was just making sure that it was up to date and compliant. So who knows when Google or Apple's going to hit us with something else again. But this is another thing. Meditation got me to the point where I was able to make the connections that I was able to make, to do the things that I was able to do to get Oriole's Call out on the market. It's not our first game. Our first game is Space Exodus, and that game is really cool in design, but it hasn't really been fully implemented, just like Oriole's Call hasn't really been implemented. But my point is, were I not doing this habit of meditating, right? Because the thing about meditation is, from a emotional and down-to-earth perspective, it just calms you down, right? It slows down your brain, which is slowing down your brain waves, which is going to put your body in a state that allows it to repair and heal easier and faster than if you were not doing meditation regularly. And it's actually, I don't know if the study that I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show you a study from Dr. Joe Dispenza's website. It's free. He has it up on the website. It's under proof. There's a lot of different studies. And one of the ones that I participated in when I was a member of that week-long event was, there was immunoglobulin A, I believe. And that is one of the things in your body. I don't know quite what it is. I love science and I'm into science, but I myself am not a scientist. So I'm going to give you the layman's version of it. So basically, this immunoglobulin A, they found that when people meditate, even for just a week, that it raises the immunoglobulin A. And basically what that does is it makes it very difficult for you to get sick. Now, in a practical, down-to-earth, like easy to understand version of that, it's 2026, Friday, the 5th of March right now, as of this recording, right? It's, no, not March, it's June, I'm sorry. It's Friday, the 5th of June, as of this recording. I haven't gotten sick, like actually sick, where I needed to take medicine, for about a year and a half now. And I have heard it from many people that they say that everybody's different, and some people, the effects are quick and they happen fast. For some people, it's slower and it takes longer. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza's explanation, the more you analyze, so we grow up in this society where we think it's perfectly fine and okay to overanalyze everything and try to be like super scientific about it. Like, the majority of us are not scientists, but we like to fancy ourselves as scientists, right? We like to think that we know everything and we're smart because we look things up, and now we got ChatGPT, so it makes it so much easier to research and look things up. And that's fine, because I do that too. I find that like that's natural for me to do that, because we get all our information so lightning quick. We tend to think and analyze things, and we tend to go by what we've studied and what we've known. But the truth is, there hasn't been a lot of external third-party studies on meditation done at the level that Dr. Joe Dispenza and his team are doing it. So, they actually have like real records of 2,000 people coming to each event or more and getting like blood work and stuff. Like, like when I signed up, I signed the volunteer saying I wanted to be part of that study, because I want to, push a narrative that can help people heal in a way that's not going to make them like treat the symptoms, but actually get to the core and the root of the problem, right? So meditation, in the scientific sense, this study that I'm going to show here, that I'm going to show on the screen, and I'm going to actually capture, so I'm going to stop, I'm going to pause here, like when I'm recording, and then I'm going to record on my computer with the microphone, and I will go into reading the actual document. But before I do that, I just want to set this up as basically the document that I'm going to read. It talks about how we create opioids or something of that effect. Basically, we create medicine. And one of the things that Dr. Joe has found, and he's been preaching for a while, your body has the perfect pharmacy of medicines that you need, right? As a matter of fact, all the medicines that we use in this earth are activating things that already exist in our body. So if you think about it from a logical perspective, if you are accessing healing in your body, if you believe that that's possible, because belief is also a strong component in when you're meditating, right? Because I think the reason it took me 4 years to start healing as opposed to 5, as opposed to 1 year or 2 years, is because it took me a long time to believe that it is possible to actually heal doing meditation. So, as I showed the results with the insulin, my insulin is now normal for the first time in like forever. Going back to that data, October 15th, 2025, my level is 18 U slash ml. That's actually 2 under the 20 that's considered the high range of normal. So my insulin hasn't been normal in a long time. And one of the things about insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia is that the doctors told me that it makes it close to impossible to lose weight, and that was actually true. For 2 years, I went to the gym hardcore, did exercise, I did a diet that worked for me in the past, and I didn't lose a single pound. I was steadily and slowly going up, right? Now that I've given you a little bit of my personal examples, and I couldn't find the records for, I'll try to see if I can get it and maybe put it in another video. But when I got my glasses, my prescription, I believe I got it from Lens Crafters, and the doctor, the optometrist that took my test, they actually showed me that they were like, look, this is strange. We don't know why this is happening, but your eyes are actually getting better. And I was like, excuse me, what does that mean? And they were like, yeah, it's actually healing. It's getting better. So my prescription right now that I'm using is weaker than the ones that I've used in my glasses before. So I'm excited. I believe firmly that one day I won't even need glasses anymore, that my eyes, my body will produce whatever is, I don't know what it needs. I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to produce whatever is necessary so that I no longer need to use glasses and I could have perfect view without my glasses. Not that I dislike my glasses. I actually like wearing them, and I like how my face looks with glasses more than without it. But whatever, I'll just wear non-prescription glasses if it comes to that point, if I really miss wearing glasses, right? But the point is, to not have to wear glasses is fantastic because I like seeing things clearly. And I clean my glasses now. I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera, but they get smudged up and fogged up easily. And I like having HD vision, right? Like it gives me blurry, like standard definition, old vision when I have blurry glasses. I hate it. So anyway, all that being done, I'm gonna pause here so I can edit in the segment from the computer. All right, so we're in Dr. Joe Dispenza's website. It's drjoedispenza.com/scientific research, groundbreaking study, whatever. I came here to prove what the scientific research, and let's just read the opening of this article, and then I'll briefly go through the study, which is a lot longer and a lot more intricate for those who are wanting to do, get into the study themselves. I'll drop the link in the video, but I'm just going to go through the highlights, all right? So, groundbreaking study reveals the future of medicine exists in what we think, not what we take. Our research partners at UC San Diego have just announced revolutionary findings that challenge conventional understandings of human biology with the publication of their paper titled Neural and Molecular Changes During a Mind-Body Reconceptualization, Meditation, and Open-Label Placebo Healing Intervention in the Scientific Journey of Communications Biology. Neural and molecular changes during a mind-body reconceptualization, meditation, and it's the same thing again. The landmark study demonstrates how intensive meditation can trigger the same profound brain activity documented only with psychedelic substances, while simultaneously activating measurable biological transformations through the entire body. Which, by the way, that psychedelic, that psychedelic thing is like without taking the psychedelics. So that's kind of crazy in and of itself. The published findings suggest that in just 7 days without any pharmaceutical intervention, Dr. Joe's week-long retreat participants achieved what researchers are calling a biological reset. Findings include heightened brain activity. Meditation produced neural patterns similar to those seen with psychedelics, dramatically quieting the brain's default mode network, responsible for self-focused thinking and inducing states associated with mystical experiences. Neuroplasticity activation. Blood plasma collected at the end of the 7-day retreat boosted neuronal growth in lab settings, showing massive increases in neuroplasticity factors such as BDNF, a protein that supports brain rewiring and personal transformation. Natural pain relief. Meditation elevated levels of endogenous opioids, the body's natural painkillers, indicating activation of internal pain management systems and overall physiological harmony. Molecular epigenetic programming. Molecular analysis reveals changes in gene expressions and epigenetic markers that may enhance stress resilience and long-term biological adaptation. Boosted immunity. Meditation increased both inflammatory and anti-inflammatory immune signals, suggesting a sophisticated healing effect that supports cellular balance and repair. So this is the paper which opened up the tab that I have open right here. And this is the study that was done, apparently published November 6, 2025. So I'll go ahead and read a few of these things. The abstract, is that going to be too scientific? A little bit, yeah. Let's go into the introduction. So again, if any of you are like more science oriented or science heavy and you want the deep study, I will post the links to where you can go and get this. And there's a lot more studies that they have done over the last few years. But I'm going to go ahead and just read the simple stuff because I want to keep it simple for my audience so that they don't have to become science PhDs in order to understand this. So introduction. Mind-body intervention structured practices that harnesses the interaction between psychological processes and physiological systems can significantly improve human physical and mental health. Yet the neural and molecular effects of increasingly popular mind-body retreats interventions remain poorly understood. In a recent RCT, reconceptualizing pain as the product of plastic brain activity rather than a peripheral tissue injury, reduced pain 3 times more than placebo and 6 times more than usual treatment. Placebo effects, another mind-body intervention based on healing-centered rituals, symbols, and behaviors, affect every major organ system and sometimes surpass routine surgical outcomes. Interestingly, open-label placebos administered without concealment such that the subject is aware of the placebo conserve their effectiveness against many conditions, demonstrating that placebo's responses do not require deception, expectations, or conditioning. Meditation, yet another intervention based off self-regulated attention practices, can produce subjective mystical type experiences. I believe I spoke about this in the video as well with DMT. It releases DMT in your brain. Mental health improvements and can alter neural, immune, autonomic, gene expression, proteomic, and metabolomic activity. Metabolic, I would think? Oh, whatever, metabolomic. And yeah, so going back to this right here, if you guys are looking at the screen, it says demonstrating that placebo responses do not require deception, expectations, or conditioning. Later in the video, you'll see that I talk about that belief is very important when it comes to these things. If you don't believe that something will work, it never will. But what's the alternative? Isn't the alternative better? What about believing that it will work so that it does? But that depends on you. That's not going to depend on anybody that you talk to. That's not going to depend on That's not going to depend on ChatGPT going through and, and analyzing and telling you if it's good or not. That's not going to rely on Google search. It's not going to rely on a conventional science. I mean, really, if you want this stuff to work, it will work, but you have to believe it and you have to want it. So yeah, going back. Each of these interventions operates through partially distinctive cognitive mechanisms, raising the probability that they may complement one another to impact the brain and body synergistically. Reconceptualization operates through conscious, discursive, and volitional alteration of core beliefs, while meditation involves a willful yet non-discursive alteration of consciousness. An open-label placebo involves conscious awareness but operates unconsciously. While research on each technique exists, their combined neural and molecular effect have never been studied. To do so, we conducted an exploratory observational study with functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, and blood plasma-based high-throughput proteomics, metabolomics, exosome-specific miRNA transcriptomics. Yeah, this is kind of above my pay grade. Like, I love science and I'm into it, but like, yeah, this is a little bit on a higher level. But anyway, and neurite growth and real-time metabolism cellular assays. On 20 healthy adult participants, 14 females, ages 46.35 plus or minus 10 or 10.06 standard deviation years. Figure 1B, sample before and after 7-day mind-body retreat. While logistical limitations prevented us from including age and gender match controls to isolate and mechanistically distribute the neural and psychological pathways engaged by each separate mind-body techniques. An equally important but separate task, our study provides evidence for the breadth and depth of physiological effects following a holistic, multifaceted experience commonly described by participants as personally transformational. So I'm just going to go through the study real quick. These are all things. If you want to see the details, again, come to the website. It's free. You don't even have to log in to get here. You just go to drjoedispenza.com and look for the part that says proof. Now, let's look at some of the results. I'm going to quickly look at this. Functional brain activity. To characterize the neural signature of the meditative state, participants underwent structural and blood oxygenation level dependent bold functional MRI scans during rest, 5 minutes, and meditation, 15 minutes. Mystical Experience Questionnaire MEQ scores reflective on the scanner meditation is significantly increased significantly following the intervention. N equals 20, pre equals 2.37 plus or minus 1.26 standard deviation, post equals 3.02 plus or minus 1.44. Wilcoxon sign rank test, W equals 35.0, P equals 0.03, indicating a deepening of the meditative states between the sessions. One participant's data was excluded from further analysis due to corrupt T1W data. Participants moved more during meditation than rest, a potential confound revealed by the significant effect of task. Meditation rest on mean frame-wise displacement on a two-way task times time. Repeated measures ANOVA, N equals, okay, yeah, let's leave that. Meditation versus rest. So this data is not going to make sense to the average person, the layman. So I'm going to go ahead and see what they found. What were the conclusions of this study? Let's skip to that. Let's see. Metabolomics. That's an interesting word. Let's see. We are going down machine learning and featuring. No. Discussion. This looks like it's more English and less, high-level science. So our study shows how an intensive non-pharmacological mind-body intervention produced broad short-term neural and plasma-based molecular changes associated with enhanced neuroplasticity, metabolic reprogramming, and a modulation of functional cell signaling pathways. fMRI data showed that this meditation style functionally disrupts the default mode and salience networks responsible for self-referential thought and allostatic regulation, and cerebellum prefrontal predictive processing circuits involved in integrating internal models with external sensory data. This complement study shows meditation-induced change in DMN connectivity. Mindfulness meditation has been linked to DMN deactivation, a stronger connection between DMN salience and DMN executive control networks, likely reflecting an increased capacity to switch in and out of default mode dominance. Here's the main effect we observed as a meditation-driven decrease in the intra-network default mode network connectivity and a broad desynchronization of whole brain connectivity. Meditation also reduced prefrontal cerebellar connectivity both pre and post intervention, suggesting a state-dependent suppression of self-referential and evaluative processes consisting with focused interoceptive awareness, non-judgmental awareness, and a state that transcends the self, all features of the guided meditation. So all of this is to say is that they're actually finding scientific data that's actually showing that the body is improving in health markers and in measured, and things that they've been measuring that are actually happening just from meditating alone, not from taking any medicine, not from taking any substances, not from undergoing a whole ritual. I mean, meditation itself, I guess you can think of it as a ritual, but let's see this. Since reconceptualization creates a steady belief state, this effect is likely sustained for longer than deception-based placebos. In a world in which up to 50% of American physicians regularly and knowingly prescribe placebo medications, interventions that activate a mediated, conscious, and non-deceptive pain relief mechanism carry great potential, especially for pain conditions without a well-described physical etiology. Future research should investigate which specific beliefs with health, disease, mind, and body sustainability optimizes endogenous opioid modulation, as well as if and how meditation aids in initiating and sustaining these changes. So, so this is the study. Let's read the conclusions. The observational study is the first to investigate the joint effects of 3 mind-body interventions: meditation, reconceptualization, and open-label placebo healing rituals on neural activity and plasma physiology. Our findings show that these techniques may act synergistically to produce mystical type experiences, enhance neuroplasticity, reprogram metabolic pathways, and modulate endogenous opioids, highlighting the potential of mind-body interventions to affect profound changes in neuroactivity and physiology. These are the methods that they used, and I just want to go down to one more section really quick. I already read this. It's easier to read when you're not trying to say the words out loud. But anyway, where are we? Here we go. Skipped a little bit. Where are we? Yeah, so you can see here that this is an actual scientific study. There are references. There's a bunch of references that were used in this study. And there's one more thing, because I know a lot of people that are into science, they want to know, is it peer reviewed? And yeah, it actually is peer reviewed. Let's see. Support for this research was provided by the Inner Science Research Fund and a Research Career Scientist Award from the Veterans Administration. And then here's the contributions. Here we go. Peer review. Communication biology thanks to Vaibhav Tripathi and Suruchi Fialok for their contribution to the peer review of this work. Primary handling editor, Jasmine Pan. A peer review file is available. So, yeah, this is a legitimate thing, guys. This is real scientific data. I mean, Dr. Joe, he charges a heck of a lot of money for those week-long retreats. I wish it was a little bit cheaper, but they're awesome. If you go to at least one, I say at least one is worth it. For me personally, I won't be going to those anymore until I'm super filthy rich, and then I'll just go hang out with Dr. Joe and hopefully enjoy myself with those guys. But yeah, yeah, this is it. This is the study, and now I'll let you get back to the main video. Thank you. All right, so what did you guys think about that? As you can see, there's a lot of science and research that goes into it. I just read some of the parts. I didn't want to read the whole entire document because I don't want to make this video any longer than it needs to be. But yeah, as you can see, meditation is not just something that we do to feel good in the moment. There's actually science behind it that shows that you can heal yourself with meditation. And just on a practical level, I want to tell you guys about a little story that happened recently that I wasn't sure if I wanted to share that with you guys, but you know, I'm always talking about, you know, A Lover's Compendium, and in my book, I'm always talking about how you need to be authentic, you need to be real with yourself, and you need to be not afraid to be who you are and start loving who you are, right? So following my own example, or leading by example, I want to tell you guys about something that happened about a month ago. A month ago, I had an episode where I went to, about a month ago, I had an episode where I was invited to a birthday party for my second daughter, and the birthday party was for the daughter of my second daughter's best friend, who her parents are, we get along with them very, very well. Like, I feel like they're like a long lost family that we reconnected with. Like, we just click. My wife and I, we both feel like they're family, right? And it's like, her mom and her mom's sister and her mom's mother, they come, well, the sister and the mother come from Brazil, and they were here in town, and I was happy to see them again because I hadn't seen them for a couple of months. And you know, like, we came to the party for my daughter's best friend, and normally when I'm with them, I feel comfortable, I feel at ease, I feel happy, like I feel like, you know, like, hey, I can have friends again, I can be social again, because for the longest time I wasn't able to do that, especially after my mother died. When my mother died, about 2 years ago at this point, when she died, I had a lot of the old friends that I used to be really close with, and I used to love these guys, man. I would have died for these guys, but they had stopped talking to me for the longest time. They had basically cut me out. They didn't look for me. They didn't want to know about me. And then all of a sudden, when my mom dies, they're blowing up my phone, texting me and telling me that they love me and that they're here for me. And if there's one thing, so I talk about how authenticity matters, right? But for me, it's everything, because that pissed me off so much that I wanted to go back to my old self. I wanted to curse them out and threaten them and, you know, death threats and all that. Like, I used to be very stupid with my words. But what was worse than that is that I knew that I could back it up if I wanted to, right? I used to choose violence a lot. I didn't really act on the violence, but I chose violence, at least verbally. And I knew that if it came down to it, I could back it up. Like, you know, I'm a fighter. I know how to fight. I box, you know, like, I'm not the best fighter ever. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that could whoop me up if we fight. And that would be cool, even if I had that experience, just because I always, I'm kind of like Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. I don't know if you guys play video games, but in Street Fighter, Ryu and Ken, they're always looking for the strongest fighters because they want to test themselves against them and they want to improve. So I kind of have a little slight version of that where like I don't mind if I lose to a fighter that's better than me because it'll make me see like, oh, they did this and this is how they approach the fight, and that'll help me to learn so I can be better at the fight. But the one thing I don't like about fighting is I don't like fighting in the street. So I will always try to avoid a fight in the street because, like when I know this sounds silly and it's going to sound like I'm trying to like make myself cooler than I am, but my fists were actually registered as weapons because, I boxed when I was 16, 17 years old, in New York City in the Police Athletic League in Flushing. And it was right under the train station that was directly across from Shea Stadium, which is now something else. I don't know what it's called now, but it's in Queens. And yeah, it used to be like a little hole in the wall, like basement kind of thing underneath the train station. So like, we would hear the train sometimes from above, like while we're boxing and all this kind of stuff. And we had the trainer. And one of the things that the trainer told me, because, kids in New York were fighting all the time. I personally always try to avoid fights because like I've told you guys in some of my videos, my father trained me like a Spartan, and I basically knew how to do a lot of damage to somebody with my bare hands since I was like 5, 6 years old, around the same age where I was introduced to porn. So I grew up a lot faster than I should have and that I wanted to. But anyway, I had to sign a waiver saying that I was not going to get into fights, into street fights, and that if I got into fights, I could be liable for prosecution because my fists had to be registered as as lethal weapons. So as cool as that sounds, and I bet that was pretty good for the ego of my young 16, 17-year-old self, my point is, even without that, even if I didn't do boxing, I don't like fighting because I don't like hurting people. My true nature, like the truth of who I am, I've always been love, like since day one. So, saying things like love better or how to love and, Lover's Compendium, all of this stuff, it's very on brand for me because I've always been the person that I'd rather be a lover than a fighter. But over time and over like growing up in areas that were really like ghetto and really like, violent and dangerous, I kind of learned how to become more violent, and I made myself into this character that was like more like, vicious and wanted to fight and wanted to hurt people. But I didn't really want to. I just kind of like, I guess I faked it till I made it, so to speak. And I gave off that aura, that energy of like, I can destroy you. But I never wanted to do that. And, that's another thing that meditation has helped me with. So, oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I don't know how I got to this point, but what we were talking about before was what happened 2 months ago at the birthday party, right? So I go to the birthday party and the setting is like a nightclub, like low light, but like there's like blue and purple neon lights and green lights and stuff like that, and music was blasting. And for all intents and purposes, it was a kind of cool looking bowling alley. I don't actually know why it freaked me out at the time, but I was there, and then as other parents started coming in, I think I felt this weird pressure inside of myself to be like hosting or be like entertaining for the adults that were coming, but I didn't want to do that. And I think somehow that clicked and made me panic, right? So what I did was I excused myself. I said, I'm sorry, I have to go get something at home, which wasn't true. I actually just drove around until I found a place where I could sit down and meditate. I meditated for like about an hour. It still didn't fix the problem. But I eventually came back, got my wife and my kids, and what triggered it was that my wife went to the bathroom without telling me. Now, if I tell you that, that makes no sense from a normal person's perspective, right? Like, how is that going to freak you out? But here's the thing. I had abandonment issues with my mother since I was a little kid. My mom, she was the best mom that she could be given her circumstances, but she grew up without her parents. She grew up basically with like the maids in Dominican Republic. It was not expensive to have a maid when you were back in my mom's generation. So, and plus her dad was supposedly like pretty wealthy until he got like paralyzed and he became paraplegic or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened, but he got, in Spanish, they use the word invalido, which I guess means invalid, but in English, it basically means handicapped. And he was not able to do a lot of things. My mother's mother died when she was still a little girl. So she wasn't raised by her parents the way that my mother's siblings were, my aunts and my uncles. So she was like the most free-spirited, the most like, like rebellious, the most like you can't tell her what to do kind of personality. And my mom was a firecracker too, man. She was tough. She wasn't an easy person to deal with when she was upset or angry. But for the most part, she was always happy-go-lucky, wanting to party, wanting to have fun, all the way until like I was like 16, 17 years old, around the same time that I started boxing. But yeah, my mother, like, she probably didn't mean for this, but just being completely transparent, she told me this before she passed away, that I used to think when at nighttime I would stay awake because I have a hard time sleeping. I'm a light sleeper. So I would stay awake, like I didn't know about meditation back then. So I didn't do any techniques or any breathing or anything to try to stay asleep. But my mother basically would go out in the middle of the night and she would be dressed up to the nines, and I would see her dressed up, but I would pretend that I was sleeping, right? And I seen that she had all the makeup and I could smell the perfume as she was walking by. And in my little child mind, I thought, oh, here my mom goes again. She likes going to the nightclubs and to partying more than she likes staying home with me and taking care of me. And it didn't help that not only did she do that, but some nights she would leave me alone with strangers, with adults that I didn't even know who they were. And my mom always had a bunch of strangers living in the house. She had like an open door policy where she liked to help people. And, I guess I get that from her, but I also learned what not to do because thank God, as far as I remember, and as far as like I've done hypnosis and I've never had anything come up as far as this. So as far as I know, I was never molested or raped or abused physically or anything like that by any of the people. So I can thankfully say that God protected me and was with me the whole time. And, and I've had that protection on myself and on my wife and on my kids. And I'm very grateful for that, my whole life. And that's something that I believe I will always have and will pass it on to my kids as they get older. But my little kid mind, my little child brain didn't know how to make sense of that. So I thought nightclubs equals bad because it equals my mom choosing nightclubs over me, meaning my mom loves nightclubs more than me, right? So I slowly started developing this abandonment issues. And the abandonment issues triggered when I was at this party for my daughter, because I guess my wife like took the place of my mother in terms of like, not that I view her as my mother, but she's my comfort. She's my home base. She's my safety, right? She's what makes me feel safe, and what makes me feel secure because she's always been there for me and she's still there for me. And she's very loving and very nurturing and very patient with me. And, that's the love of my life. And as long as I have any say to do with it, like once I get to the point where I want to get to, where I'm very wealthy and I'm very successful, I'm going to spoil the heck out of that woman and I'm going to use my money to do good things in the world. But that's something that I want to do. It's a burning desire for me, right? But anyway, all of this is to say that trauma, that's when I realized that's what got triggered at the party. At the party, it started when I couldn't find my wife. Like 1 minute I'm looking down on my phone because I was trying to play games to get myself out of this like negative mentality. And I wasn't trying to do like a meditation session in front of everybody, but I was trying to play games and I freaked out that she wasn't there. And then what starts going on in my mind is, so it's a combination of two traumas. So one trauma was the mother with the abandonment issues. The second trauma was with the girlfriend that I had in Connecticut when I was around 17, 18 years old, who cheated on me, which if you've seen any of my previous videos, I've explained that technically she didn't cheat on me, but I took it as cheating because she told me that she loved me, and I told her that I loved her, and we did things in private that were like more intimate, that was for couples to do. And I never thought to ask her to be my girlfriend, but I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it was one of those things that was unspoken, that she agreed to be my girlfriend, I would be her boyfriend kind of thing. And it was around the time that I lost my first girlfriend because we had to move. And her name is Elle, and the other one's name, I called her Elle too because her middle name was Elle, but they had the same name, but spelled differently. But anyway, long story short, I freaked out at this party and I felt so ashamed and so bad. And I ended up apologizing to the mother of my second daughter's best friend, because I told her, like, look, it had nothing to do with you guys. I just wanted you to know that I freaked out. I had a panic attack. I don't know what caused it. And then later on, I told them once I figured it out for myself. So that panic attack that I had, we could look at it as like, oh, poor me, I was traumatized and I went through this and I went through that. But no. I want to look at it the right way. I want to look at it how it helped me. How I seen it was, this is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity to finally heal those wounds that I never paid attention to because I grew up and I forgot all about it. I remember these things because I was triggered enough to remember it. So I want you guys to keep in mind, sometimes when you get triggered or something bad happens that freaks you out and you have a bad experience, you're allowed to feel how you're going to feel when you're going through it. And don't be hard on yourself if you can't handle it. If you need to excuse yourself, if you need to go away, if you need to take time to be alone, whatever you have to go through, understand that that's part of the process, right? That's part of the healing process. But that same time that happened, the following week there was another party scheduled, and it was going to be at a similar venue, but this was one of those like bounce house kind of things where they have like trampolines and all sorts of like things for kids to play, and it's fun, and I've been to them before, never freaked out. But similar lighting, I get there and my wife immediately goes and talks to the host family and some of the other women that are there. Normally I would be fine, but it was starting to trigger me again. The same exact thing happened as before, but this time, it took me a while. It took me about, of the 3 hours that we were there, I would say that I spent an hour and a half just doing slow, deep breaths. I mean, it was slower than that. Like I would hold it in longer than that and I would breathe it out. And because of that meditation, that meditative breath that I was doing, eventually I was able to be not my full normal self, but I was able to interact with other adults. I apologized to the host family and I explained to them that I had some unresolved traumas that I'm working on and it has nothing to do with them. I just want them to know that I have no negative feelings towards them and that I hope that they don't take any offense to me. And thankfully the mother of the second party, the host, she, like, in the beginning, I think she thought because I left the first time, she was at the first party. I think she thought because I left the first time that I had something against them, or maybe I had some sort of like I disliked them or something. And it's unfortunate because you can't really explain yourself in the heat of the moment when you're going through a full-blown panic attack, right? But I went ahead and I spoke with her and I explained to her, like, this is what happened at the last party. It's happening again here. I just want to let you guys know that, I'm very honored and grateful that you invited me to the party and it has nothing to do with you guys. So please forgive me. And I apologize if I'm not acting, like a social, normal person, but I'm just going through this thing and I'm trying to work through it. So, and then I think the husband, I feel like he didn't tell me this, but I feel like he might have had a similar experience in the past because he was very compassionate and he was checking up on me to see how I was doing. So that made me feel very good. And I want to use that as a segue to talk about, so meditation allowed me to start healing that. And then in the heat of the moment, I started doing my breath, my slow breathing, and that actually, really helped. And I'm going to use my watch here for a reference. So it's 5:10. I may not do a full 15 minutes. I was going to do a 15 minutes of each breath meditation, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys 3 different breaths in this video. And these, you can consider these breaths a meditation in itself. Now, the ultimate form of meditation is just empty mind, empty thoughts, emptying yourself out, just eyes closed, relaxing, and just letting whatever happens. So when you're doing that, I just want to give you a little FYI. Sometimes when you're doing that, you'll think that you have random thoughts going on in your head, or you'll think that you're saying things and you can't shut it up. Your objective is not to shut it up or to stop it or to do whatever. Your objective is to become the ultimate observer, right? So think of meditation as you're just becoming the observer, because the reality is that those thoughts, that chattering that's going on in your head, those feelings that you're feeling, those chemical feelings that are going on in your body, they're actually hardwired programs that are in your body that we've taught ourselves how to do over a long period of time. And this goes from trauma to positive traits to negative traits. Like, this is for everything. Like, our body becomes better by the age of like 32 or 33. It becomes automatic. Like, our body is better at doing certain things than we are at consciously doing it, right? So basically what I want to show you guys now is the first breath is one of the most simple ones. It's called the heart-centered breath. You can find more of this at Heart Math, I believe it's called. Heart Math, yeah, and they teach this breath. But this breath is the simplest, the easiest breath. So I'm going to go ahead and play a meditation song that my audio guy, Brendan, made for us. He works with me, not for me, in Mana Entertainment, and he made this song for me. And actually, I have him. I'm hoping to God that he can make some original audios, because YouTube has been getting really ridiculous about like my shorts and long videos about copywriting claiming music that I have that says that it's copyright free, but then apparently it's not copyright free to use it in a short. So there's some shorts that I've tried to post on YouTube and they're not there right now because they got blocked. So instead of instead of debating it or disputing it, I decided that I was just gonna delete them and wait for Brendan to make to make the stuff, the new songs for me. I'm looking forward to his new songs that he's gonna make. He's a really good composer. He did the music for Oriole's Call. He fixed up a lot of the audio on Space Exodus, which you guys can't really access the full version right now. And he actually did some amazing music for some other things that he's shown me. So he's an awesome audio composer. He lives in Australia. Big shout to Brendan. Love you guys. Big shout, might as well shout out to the rest of my team, to Sean, to Zach, and Carlos. Love you guys. I don't know if you're watching my videos, but love you and appreciate you guys for being with me and sticking with me this long. But yeah, meditation has gotten me very far in life. It's improved my life drastically. I'm a lot more calm and a lot more relaxed than I used to be. And without further ado, let's start the heart-centered breath. So I'm going to explain it first, and then I'm going to do a couple, play the meditative music, and let you guys, kind of do it on your own for a little bit if you want to practice it. And yeah, if you want, I'll eventually go ahead and make like meditation videos. If you guys ask me for it, I can make a longer meditation video and like maybe walk you through these cycles and do it with you. But right now I'm going to teach you. So for the heart-centered breath, you want to just basically sit up straight with your back straight. You can be on a couch, you could be on a chair, wherever you want to be. Just be relaxed, be comfortable, right? If you feel more comfortable crisscrossing your legs, I don't. I personally like having my legs down. Whatever's most comfortable for you, sit up straight in that position. And what you want to do is you want to imagine that when you're breathing, the breath is starting from the base of your body. So think of like, your nether region, your butt area. So you're picturing that the breath is starting from there, but then you're slowly bringing that breath all the way up until it gets to the center of your heart. So I like putting my hand on my chest when I do that because I feel like it helps me visualize where the heart-centered breath is. But you basically take a slow and as deep of a breath that you can take going in. When you get to the point where you feel like you can't inhale anymore or you can't breathe in anymore, hold it. Now, when you hold it, in the beginning, you might get a little bit scared because you don't know how awesome your body is yet. So if you don't meditate regularly, you don't know that your body can actually hold its breath for a very long time. So I'm going to show you an unrestricted version of the breath after I explain it. But you hold it for as long as you can. And after you hold it, you don't have to do a lot with the brain, right? This is a heart-centered breath. So you just visualize that the energy or the breath or whatever is going into your heart. You hold it there for as long as you can, and then you slowly let it out. And I find that it feels better, or it feels best when you let it out kind of like a slow whistle. So like, not like, but like. So without further ado, I'll leave my glasses on, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a heart-centered breath now. And I'll show you how I look when I do it, okay? It's going to be different for everybody. So just relax, do your best. And you can do these as much as you want, as often as you want. And this thing, like, if the watch right now on my watch, it shows that my stress levels are low. It's already low and I'm already relaxed because I went to the gym and I've already been doing meditation often. So my body is more relaxed than usual. But if you have a watch that tracks your stress levels, like an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch, I recommend looking at your stress levels and maybe taking a picture or a screenshot before you start and then looking at it after you finish, right? So you can maybe do like 3 to 5 of these back to back, but I'll go ahead and just do them now. And then I'm going to play some of the music that Brendan had. I'll put that in audio in editing. So it's not in here yet, and I'll put it in editing. So here we go. Heart-centered breath. All right, did you try that? How did it feel? I feel good. I feel really nice right now. But that was one breath. So I'm gonna go ahead and do like maybe 2 or 3 more, and I'll just do it, or maybe like 4 more. Let's do 5. Let's do 5 in total. So I did 1. Let's do 4 more. I'll go ahead and do the heart center breath with the music playing in the background, and then you guys can go ahead and try practicing with me and do it yourself. In through the nose. So yeah, what works best for me is in through the nose, out through the mouth. Here's number 3. All right, that was the 4th one. So I would love to hear in the comments how you guys feel after the heart-centered breath. Next, we're gonna go into, I just call this the Wim Hof breath. Now, this breath existed probably in ancient India and the Himalayas and all that region. So Wim Hof says that he didn't make up the breath, but he's become a master of it. I mean, this guy uses it to get into Arctic ice cold temperature. Now, this breath might warm up your body a little bit, and just know that that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that happening. If it feels too intense, you're welcome to stop. So the next 2 breaths, the Wim Hof breath and the one that I'm going to teach you guys after that, are a little bit more intense and a little bit more involved in terms of like there's more work to do, but it's not. This next one, the reason I wanted to do it second, because it's not as hard as the 3rd breath. The 3rd breath is what I call the super breath. It's what Dr. Joe Dispenza uses at his events, and it's what a lot of the masters in meditation have been using for years. So the 2nd breath is the Wim Hof. So for this one, you're gonna breathe in through your nose, and maybe let's hold it for like 1 or 2 seconds. So, or breathe in for like, let's say 2 seconds. So let's see. Let's do 3 seconds, and then out through the mouth. Out through the mouth the same amount of times, the same amount of seconds that you did for the breath. So if you're only able to breathe in for like 2 seconds, let's say, breathe out for 2 seconds. But this one, you're not gonna pause in between the breaths, okay? You're not gonna pause to take your breath. What we're gonna do is we're gonna breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, right? And we're gonna do that a couple of times. And at the end of it, what we're gonna do is we're going to, we're gonna go ahead and breathe in and breathe out, and then when we breathe out, we're gonna hold it for about like 5 to 10 seconds, and after that, you're gonna take a deep breath in, hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, and then breathe out. So this is the Wim Hof breath, and you might need to rewind. If you need to rewind for the explanation, it's okay. So remember, in through the nose, out through the mouth, right? So here's the Wim Hof. So cue the music. Deep breath in. Breathe out and then hold it at the end. Yeah, so without fail, with the Wim Hof breath, I never fail to feel like a buzzing or like almost like a heat, like a warm heat going throughout my whole body. Okay, great. So that was the Wim Hof breath. Again, any of these meditations, if you, first of all, you could look up Wim Hof beginner breath, and he has a guided meditation through it. If my way wasn't explaining it thoroughly enough for you, like, you might want to check out his. For the heart-centered breath, you can also go to heartmath.com, and they have videos showing you the heart-centered breath. They, you know, sometimes in meditation and spirituality and healing in this world that we're talking about, sometimes you might need to hear things different ways. So I started my main course of action with Dr. Joe Dispenza. With Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's very scientific and he talks about a scientific approach to it. I thought that was going to work best for me, but then I started learning some of the same exact concepts that he was speaking through Bashar. And now I went ahead and I heard two other sources. One was John Bradshaw, I believe was his name, and he had inner child work. Oh my God, I can't recommend that video enough. There's a series of videos on YouTube. Just look up John Bradshaw inner child work videos or video series, and there's like about 10 videos. If you guys can do that, I promise you it's worth it, because there's not a single one of us that hasn't been scarred or traumatized as a child for one reason or another, right? Like, healing the inner child just makes you a better person. I've become a better person, and I'm more likable and I'm more agreeable because of that. But then learning it from that perspective helped me learn some of the same things that I had already learned from Dr. Joe and from Bashar in a better way. And then last but not least, which I'm probably going to learn something else new. I don't know what's next, but the latest that I've learned was from, gosh, I don't remember. I'm blanking on his name right now, but the third thing that I've learned most recently was from Wayne Dyer, and I forgot what the book is called, but it's an audio book that I found on YouTube, and it has something to do with manifestation. But basically, I've learned the same exact concepts that I've learned like 5 or 10 times before from different teachers. And sometimes, you know, like what I'm teaching you, it might click for some of you, but for some of you it might not. So if you want to give it a real shot and give yourself an opportunity, and you find that you like one of these breaths better than another, and you want to make that your bread and butter, you know, feel free to look up other teachers. Like, I don't have any exclusivities or any rights to, like, I'm not better than any other teacher. No teacher is better than me. I'm not better than them. We're all in this together, right? We're trying to make this world a better place by teaching people how to heal themselves so that they can feel better, they can live better, and eventually they can love better. Yay. Right? So for this last breath, this is the one that I learned through Dr. Joe Dispenza. Apparently they use it in Tibet. The Tibetan monks use this, and it's considered one of the higher level breath meditations. So for this one, your perineum it's that area that's right in between your butt and your privates, right? So picture like your spine. You know, your spine goes all the way from the base of your butt all the way up to the back of your neck, all the way up to your neck and to your skull, right? So along that spine, you have these things called energy centers, which actually, in the old world, they used to think that it was just like literal spiritual energy, which it probably is. But in physical reality, we found that there's actually these bunches of neurons in these energy centers that are like mini brains, and they all have their own thing. They have like memory, they have things that they've learned, they store certain things like emotions, feelings, or behaviors. And basically what we're doing is, with this breath, you're hitting every energy center. So energy center 1 is the base or the root chakra, right? And that's the one that's in between your butt and your privates. So you squeeze that area when you start taking the breath. And for this breath, you want to imagine at least what works for me is imagine that you're trying to squeeze through these energy centers going up. The next one is in your navel, which is your belly button. The next one, and it's like in the center of your body, closer to your spine, right? So it's your belly button, but it's inside the belly button. So picture like if you can go like X-ray vision through your belly button, everything is closer to the spine. So the second one is in your navel. The third one is the solar plexus, right? Right up here, right in between the chest. And they say that that's where you keep a lot of like anger and irritation and stuff like that. So when you're hitting that spot, try to really squeeze that spot. And the fourth one is the heart center, which is obviously where your heart is in the middle. The next one is the throat. And then center 6 is supposed to be, they say that it's like behind your ear, like inside here, like in the center and the middle of the back of the brain. But just picture like when you go like this and you kind of squeeze your neck, it's around there. That's where the 6th energy center is. That's where your third eye is, your pineal gland. Now, without getting super scientific about it, your pineal gland is a super powered part of your body. It's a radio receiver or antenna that can tune in to higher energies and frequencies. It can download information. It can download visuals sometimes if you're lucky. You can get really cool, like it's one of the sensors where DMT is released. So if you hit that area in a meditation deep enough, you might have a divine or a mystical experience because it's triggering that DMT. Now, because it's a chemical, DMT doesn't make it any less real than if it's actually happening, right? But consciousness and reality, all of this that we're seeing it's an illusion, right? But it's an illusion with a purpose. It's a point. We're here to learn things. We come to Earth to forget. We come to Earth to forget who we are so that eventually we could learn who we are from nothing, from no hints, no angels usually come to us and be like, hey, don't forget you're God, because we're all God, having this unique experience. But no angel comes to us and tells us that, hey, you used to be God, so you're perfect, so don't mess up and you can do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't tell you who you are. They tell you, your spirit guides or whatever, they guide you to finding who you are. But the point of this life, whether you're, let's say that, let's pretend that this is all true, and it might not be true, but it might be, but let's pretend that this is all true. So according to the sages and the masters of old, they say that when you come into this life, you come and you write a contract between yourself, which is God, and yourself as a human that you're about to become, right? And you have a certain plan where you have certain key events or major events that are going to happen no matter what. You can't change those events, right? So like, say for example, in my life, I needed to go through the trauma that I hated going through with that girl, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have eventually found my wife, who's the best woman I've ever met in my life. And she's the best thing that's ever happened to me, honestly. Which means that I wouldn't have had my children, which means that I wouldn't have had this life where I'm here able to teach you guys, because I have the scars and the battle wounds to show you guys that it's possible to come out of it, right? So there's certain major events that you need to go through in life. But one of the things that the masters say of old is that you don't have to suffer about it, right? So a lot of times we tend to think as humans that we have to go through hardships, and we have to go through suffering, and we have to go through persecution, and we have to go through all these negative things because we somehow romanticize it. We think that like, oh, you went through all these hard things, so like you're cool or you're strong or you're tough or whatever. But really, we're choosing this at a higher level. But at any given point, and in any given point in our human lives, we can decide, I want to experience everything that I came here to experience. Plus, I want to experience things that I want to go through. So for example, in my case, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to be wealthy or rich. I haven't gotten there yet, but I want to experience that, because for me, having a lot of money is like, people say that money is the root of all evil, but I think the actual saying is the love of money is the root of all evil. And I think where that's coming from is not the actual word love, but I think it's coming from the word greed. I think it should be greed is the root of all evil, right? Because as we've seen in America and all across the world, greed is what's preventing us from being at the highest levels that we can be as a species, as human beings. Greed is what's preventing us from having no borders, right? We have borders, we have countries, and yes, we do need laws, and we do need police, and we do need defense forces, right? Because there's always going to be somebody who chooses to do something really stupid or really evil, and we need people to protect us from those things, right? So I'm not saying that we're supposed to get rid of our military. That's eventually something that can happen in the long run. When our technology and our spiritual ability reaches the heights that we're supposed to be, we're not going to need military force anymore, because first of all, we're not going to see our neighbors as an enemy. We're going to see them as they're me, I'm you, you're me, I'm God, God is me. We're all one, right? We're all one. At the highest level, we're all one. And we experience separation here on this earth because that's part of the illusion. That's part of what the lessons for us to go through, so that we can eventually realize, when you hurt me, you're hurting yourself. When you bless me, you're blessing yourself. It's written in the Bible. You know, if you're a Christian or you're Jewish or Muslim, I know the Muslims have this as well. You know, you'll know that it says, you know, those who bless me are blessed and those who curse me are cursed. That wasn't a figurative thing. That was literally, because if you curse someone else, you're cursing yourself, right? So all that negative energy that you're putting into somebody that you hate or you can't stand, you're actually pouring that on yourself. So it's like drinking a poison and expecting the other person to die. They're not gonna die. You're dying. You're the one that's killing yourself by doing that, right? So all of this was a segue into this very difficult breath. So, sorry, I jump around a lot. I tend to do this because I don't have a script, but let's go now into the last breath, and we'll go ahead and close out the video with this. But this last breath, so just to recap, you're squeezing from the bottom of your body. You're gonna tense and squeeze up your muscles as you're breathing up. And you wanna kind of pretend that you're like a toothpaste, that you're trying to squeeze the last little bit of toothpaste up. So you wanna get it up, all the way past your neck, all the way to the back of your brain. And then when you're holding it there, if you do like a guided meditation with Dr. Joe Dispenza, he'll say like, now micro compressions or contractions, and like squeeze up, right? So you're gonna see my body doing this a little bit. That's me squeezing. So you're not going to be able to see my whole body from this angle, but I'm going to do the breath now with you. And then we'll go ahead and do maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 of those breaths, because these feel really good when you get them right. If you don't get them right in the beginning, just understand that it took me almost a year to get this breath right, to figure out how it works for me. How it works for me might not be exactly how it works for you. So just know that if you don't get it perfectly from what I'm telling you, it's okay. My thing, my book, and my whole thing is, it's not about copying me. I don't want to make clones of myself. I want you to be your authentic, real self. Yourself, you have a way that's going to work for you. You have a way that's going to be good for you. It might not be my way. It might be. If it is my way, cool. Then just consider yourself lucky that I'm showing you exactly how to do it. Now, if my way doesn't work for you, figure it out. But the thing that I want you to keep in mind is, when you're breathing, you have those 7 energy centers, right? 7 is at the top of the head. I didn't discuss that later, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the back of the head, and then 7 at the top of the head, right? And then sometimes some people do 8, which is the spirit above your head, like where your spirit resides, like the presence of God. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the breath. I'm gonna put the music now. I'll do 1 and then talk a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and just do like a couple more, okay? So here we go. First breath. And I'm gonna close my eyes for this because I like closing my eyes for this. You don't have to if you don't want to. Wow, guys, I'm seeing some beautiful stuff right now with my eyes closed, and there's no way I could share this with you, but it's pretty cool. I don't know if it's because I'm outside, but I'm seeing a lot of colors and stuff right now with my eyes closed. That's really cool. If you have something like that happen, don't freak out. Just remember, you are an eternal being. You're God. So anything that you see, just know that it's good for you. And even if it shows up and it's scary, understand that it's scary because you have beliefs that maybe you haven't dealt with, or you haven't, gone through, you haven't worked through it, that can be creating this. Everything that's happening, you're creating it right now, right? You're in charge of your life. You are the master of your life. Nobody else is in control of it. Not even God, because at the end of the day, God is us, but God will respect us as a human being God, right? So God is not going to interfere. God will help if you ask for help. If you say, hey, higher self, God, creator, universe, whatever you're called, higher power that I know loves me and looks out for me. If you see something like that's scary or that's unpleasant and you don't want to see that anymore, you can ask for help. But just know that if you are creating it, God is not going to interfere with your creation, right? And also, if you're experiencing anything that's negative when you do these breaths, don't be scared of it and don't beat yourself up about it. This is actually a healing opportunity for you. If something is experiencing that makes you feel bad or odd or negative or scared or anything like that, just know that it's your body working through it. The more you do this, the more you're gonna feel better and the more you'll be able to heal. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the music and then do a few more breaths and then we'll go ahead and close out the video. So here we go. Oh, one thing you can do that Dr. Joe also says, you can blow out all the air from your nose first and then hold it for a little bit before you go in. So I'm gonna do it like that. I'm gonna do it like that for the next couple ones, okay? So here we go. Oof, that felt amazing. Let's do the next one. So blow out all the air from your nose and then hold it as long as you can. When you can't hold it anymore, take a slow, deep breath in, all the while squeezing those muscles from your butt all the way to the top of your head, okay? Or the back of your head. Let's do a few more. If you're doing this, even if you're trying and you don't get it right, you should be feeling a lot better right now. I'm speaking life into you right now. You're feeling much better right now. Oh, that feels awesome. Let's do one more. I'm gonna blow out. This time I didn't blow out last time, and that's okay. You don't have to do it every time. Just do whatever feels right for you, but just try to get the general gist of the thing, okay? You don't have to do it perfectly. Just think to yourself, I'm doing it perfectly. Even if you don't feel like you are, just think, I'm doing it right, because having that confidence and that belief about yourself will get your body to join you on it, right? And make you feel better, so. How you guys feeling? Did you make it all the way? Did you do all the meditations with me? All the breaths? So if you're feeling as good as I'm feeling right now, hi, my babies are home. If you're feeling as good as I'm feeling right now, I just want you to go ahead and drop a like or drop a comment. Let me know if you need more help with anything. In the meantime, since I don't have a huge channel right now while I'm growing, I like to respond to everybody who's going to comment. So if you leave a comment, I'll respond to you, as long as you're respectful and you're not being, attacking or negative or trying to insult. Because if you do that, it's not that I don't think that you're worthy of my time. It's just I don't want to feed any energy into like that negative thing, right? Because that negative thing that's making you feel like you want to do that, that's making you feel like you want to hate me, that's not who you really are. It's not. It's really not. That's just part of whatever it is that you've, all the experiences that you have that have led you to be frustrated, that left you to be angry and left you to be very negative. That's not who you are. Just remember that. Remember that you are a perfect divine soul. You are love. You are kindness. You are compassion. You are strong. And being strong doesn't mean like proving you're strong by making other people feel weak or attacking other people. Being strong is being confident and secure in yourself. Loving yourself is a form of strength. If you want to be like a tough, strong person and you want to really exude confidence, love yourself. There's nothing stronger than that, right? So thank you guys for watching this video. This has been CGR. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and put the outro video thingy here. And just, do me a favor, help us grow, share this video with somebody that you think it might help them. If you don't feel like it's going to help somebody else, if it helped you and if you enjoyed it, or if, at least if it's serving you in some way, shape or form, go ahead and drop a like, subscribe. Anytime I see a new subscriber or a like on my video and I know that it's not, my wife or somebody that already loves me and cares about me, it really makes me happy for what it's worth. So, if you dislike the video, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs down. I obviously would rather have thumbs up, obviously, but whatever feels right for you, just know that, I'm going to do this for you guys, and I'm doing this with a love for you guys that I don't have to do, but I want to do, right? I want to serve this world. I want to make this world a better place. I want my children to grow up in a world where people can have this kind of confidence and love and self-love that helps them not only to be a better person when you're out and about. Like, recently I've had some jobs with InstaWork. And those jobs that I've had, everybody likes me all of a sudden. Everybody likes me again. I'm back to being liked and lovable because I'm learning to like and love myself. For a while, that wasn't the case. I would go to a job and nobody liked me and I would get fired and I didn't understand why. Now I understand it's because of the energy that you're projecting. When you're a hateful, negative person, and even if you try to hide it, you can't really hide energy. People pick up on energy, right? So if you're a hateful person and you hate yourself or you hate others, it's going to come across in some way, shape or form, and it's not going to be a good thing for you. So love yourself, heal yourself, take the time, do these breaths. If you want me to do another video, if you want me to do a guided meditation where maybe I'll record the instructions while I'm doing the meditation with you guys on camera, I can do that as well, because I do have a mic that I use to record the segment showing you the science behind the Dr. Joe's research. That's peer reviewed, by the way. So hope you guys got something out of this. I really hope that this serves you, and I hope you guys are convinced now that meditation is the way to go. So I'll see you guys later. Love better.